people really like to give up, and they don't really have that drive.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to Ascent.
We kind of just threw at the end.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, MAD were winning 5 versus 3.
Look how quick this one.
Oh!
All right, very first map in the series, TSM pick, and we had talked about this being a good map for them, as well as recent tape over on the Ambrosia side. So it's all gonna land how we thought it would. TSM victory 13-9 to be starting things out. I mean, Ash, going into this, I mean, we've talked so much about TSM and how they're just looking stronger going into the split. They've got a little bit more time to cook together. Ambrosia, definitely some good ideas. They're definitely shooting back, do not get me wrong, but just not enough in this first map.
No, and I do want to give, you know, the fact that for the side of TSM, I think their macro has just looked really good overall. They have a really good idea of how they're looking to approach a lot of these rounds, especially in those retake situations. I think Vora was popping off with a lot of that Teho utility that was being thrown out. And TSM just looking a lot more cohesive, I think, when it comes down to that game plan. And for Ambrosia, I do think they're working up to that macro game sense with Glyph, you know, slotting in. Again, reminder that he's just, you know, stepping into the IGL role for the first time, which is a huge amount of responsibility being put on his shoulders here for Split 2. And it's going to take time to work up to that.
Yeah, and that's really the key thing is time, right? Like, I don't think it's like a discomfort in the IGL role. I really just think that it's really hard to balance a wide map pool when you've made so many roster changes and so many role changes within the team, right? So I think we do have to give them a little bit of grace in that regard. But on the other end, TSM just looked so good. This is a version of TSM we've been wanting to see. They look very well oiled. Yeah, there was a little bit of hiccups towards the end of the game, but ultimately this was a pretty one-sided affair for the most part from start to finish. Their attack looked phenomenal. They had clear goals, except for the round where they had 5 ultimates and got no kills. We'll ignore that one though, but we'll scratch that one out. But besides that round, it was a great attack side. They had a lot of good early round ideas. They had a lot of good early mid rounds, excuse me. And they also were able to close out rounds as well, late rounding extremely well. So overall, I'm happy with what I see with TSM right now.
Can't believe you have to throw just a little hater energy in there, just like
I have to,
just to keep it interesting, right? But hey, you know, you got to keep it interesting. It's for the content. It's for the content. All right, that's what we got to keep saying. But still, regardless of any quote-unquote content, still going to be a strong start to the series for TSM. And across the board, I mean, we had highlighted Sim and Seven going into this, but Ash, what's really nice about this team is, again, something that I said about Sim is we don't always need to see all these numbers here because everyone on the team is capable of stepping up. And that's something we got to see throughout the series as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think that it's something that TSM also did really well was just a lot of the ground conversions, considering, you know, the deficits that they maybe started off on here on Split. Because for this team, they only had 5 first bloods, I believe, on this map. And it's pretty crazy to think that, you know, overall they're able to make it work like so well for them to be coming back from that numbers deficit. The fact that they're able to, you know, really pull things together and find those trades and those opportunities to even up those numbers. And a lot of that it comes down to, I think, you know, the IGLs popping off on both these teams. You know, Vora's calling with the micro. And then you also have to give Ambrosia the kudos there as well with Glyph, like talking about these two players with a head-to-head. I think that we already, you know, alluded a bit to the difference in, you know, the experience under their belt. Vora has been IGLing for a bit longer than Glyph. He's had time with this squad on TSM in this role during the first split to really solidify that and able to perform so well while in this role as well. And Glyph, you know, we're seeing the glimmers of him starting to get there, Roy.
Yeah, definitely. I cannot agree anymore, to be honest. But we have to remind ourselves, Vora came onto this team. He wasn't even meant to be the IGL. He was quite literally picked up as a fragger. And the fact that he's able to pick up the role, have so much more mental tax that you have to pay, and still put up these kind of performances is obviously insane. And it really could not be understated how hard it is. But of course, shout out to Glyph as well. He's had a phenomenal performance in the opening match versus TSM. But that was TSM's map pick, guys. We cannot forget. They came in with a clear game plan. They looked well. They executed well on that game plan. But now we're looking forward to Ascent, which is going to be a whole other beast, guys.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Because, of course, when we do get, you know, the team that's favored in the matchup winning their map pick. Like, I don't think you can put the most stock into it. It's kind of, yeah, things are happening exactly how they should. And Ambrosia didn't just roll over in that map, right? That's another thing. This wasn't just like a 13-2 or something. So now heading into Ambrosia's own map pick, and something we've gotten to see from them before, this should be interesting. Of course, Ascent is back, you know, so this isn't going to be unknown territory for TSM, especially when you're looking at that core team here, Ash, because this is something that, you know, throughout the years that they have played. But obviously, there's been a couple changes. There's been different agents. So it's what look they're going to have for it today.
Yeah, I think that's a big conversation, right? Is how are TSM going to look to slot into the current meta that's being built up here on Ascent? We've seen teams experimenting. You know, the Yoru has become like a pretty big mainstay on this map for a lot of squads. And then a lot of teams are also even giving the Waylay a shot as well. We're seeing even some double duelist comps to try and capitalize off that Waylay as much as possible too across the different leagues. And I'm really excited to see if TSM are going to look to bring a fresh look. I think Sim does look great on the Yoru if that's something he wants to slot in here on the Ascent too. As much as we know that, you know, for Sim, of course, the Jet is his bread and butter. I think that I'm really excited to see the take that TSM are going to have.
Yeah, I could not agree more. But what's weird for me is when you don't know what to expect from a team on Ascent, picking it can be really, really hard, right? Because you're going to most likely be on the attack side. We've seen what happened with Winthrop University versus Prosperity. It was the same sort of idea there, right? Prosperity picks it into Winthrop University, and they just couldn't get anything going on that attack side. And that happens so often on this map, especially when you don't know what to expect. How are they playing their defense? How are they spreading out? You know, what are they doing with their ultimates? What's the Opera's tendencies, right? Like, are they going out mid? There's just so many factors that can happen on that Ascent defense, and there's so much control you can exert when you're defending on that map that it can be really awkward on the attack side when you're going in blind.
Oh, it definitely can be. But I think we've talked about as well how, you know, at least for Ambrosia, it is the fact that they are going in blind up against a TSM because they don't know what to expect. But then for TSM on the flip side, they have the opportunity to go look back at that M80 game. Sure, Ambrosia did win, but it was a long map there as well, that 13-10. That's a lot that Ambrosia is revealing in that VOD there as well. And we know that TSM love to anti-strat.
And heading into our agent select, if you're talking about, yeah, this is a dangerous one to pick, Ambrosia, they played that dangerous game here with M80, and they were still able to come out on top no matter what M80 was thrown at them. So assuming there has to be a smidge of that again today. Love to see Satellite back on the Euro. On the side of TSM, it's going to be Sim on the Jet. 7 here on the Deadlock, Ash.
Okay, I actually don't know how I feel about this. I think that for TSM, they do have an insane comp to be starting out on defense with the double sentinel. A lot of retake potential there as well, or zoning and stall with Vora's kit and GMD as well. And you're going to be expecting maybe some more like set plays where you see the sentinels looking to anchor one side of the map, and then you're having like the 3 other players trying to like kind of push Ambrosia into some of those like trap plays that might be going on. I'm really excited to see how this does work out, but it's also high risk, high reward, because I think the second we got on attack there in that second half, then I have questions about how TSM are going to look to work towards this comp.
Yeah, that's a really good shot because, I mean, on the defense side, they're chilling, right? They have the 2 Sentinels, they have the Tejo utility, they have the Omen. There's so much utility for them to work with on that defense side. But when it comes to attack, the lack of flashes, that could be problematic. I think overall, I like Ambrosia's composition. I feel like it's a little bit more well-rounded. There's a lot more to work with on both sides. And of course, Yoru slots into the current meta extremely well. But I'm thinking this is going to be a really interesting one, guys.
I mean, hey, up 1 in the series, might as well put a full gamble into this defense, and I'm excited to see if it pays off. It's time to head into Ascent to see if Ambrosia can, in fact, take the map down and take us to a map 3. Back over to Cassius, Hendrik, and Marks. Have fun.
Thanks so much, Sierra. And indeed, all eyes are on this secondary Sentinel in Seven's Deadlock, who has to really enable these openers in Sim and Vora, and even GMD to an extent now that Seven has to play the Deadlock on this attacking side. Until then, though, Marks, it is a pretty terrifying comp to have to deal with if you're Ambrosia, despite the fact that their comp and team looks great on this map.
It's, you know, I got a lot of question marks here, and I'm hoping that I'm going to get a lot of answers when we're actually in the map here. But, you know, once again, Ambrosia pulling out a composition that seems pretty standard as to what you would expect on this map, given all the recent changes. Yeah, TSM, like, I think that the lack of flashes is going to make things hard. And sure, they can deny a lot of space thanks to a lot of that utility, but it doesn't feel like there feels like there's 3 agents that are more on the like, hey, let's play it nice and chill, and then 2 agents being a little bit more attack forwards. And we're seeing one of those agents right now, Sim, already so deep in the lines of Ambrosia, but you know what, Ambrosia, they just give that respect, and Shondex actually finds Sim first.
Yeah. TSM with the util combos they've got to go for. You got to army crawl under barbed wire and some mud to grab a kill instead of the current modern day power trick. One agent can get 3 kills with swinging yourself in. It'll be a bit of a long-winded match, but TSM have been willing to play that on split, and the more actions that they take, the more actions they force Ambrosia to take, the more prone they are to making those mistakes that they saw Ambrosia was prone to making in that previous map. And that salvo is going to be able to clear the rest of the board for TSM as they'll storm onto site with 3 standing and take that first pistol.
Yeah, an excellent pistol round coming through there. Of course, Shondex had the opportunity to make it big and was able to find at least a kill very early on onto Sim, of all people. But yeah, once again, like, TSM's composition, it feels a little bit discombobulated already in how you would want to set up a lot of these types of things. But at the same time, I mean, hey, the defense, this is where it should supposedly shine. A lot of utility can just kind of get dumped out. Make sure that you're denying all sorts of space from Ambrosia pushing in from all these different angles. So let's see how this one plays out. This time around, it looks like it might be a little bit more chill. I don't imagine TSM are just going to be flying things out right off the rip. And yep, setting up that one way there. So Ambrosia are going to be the ones who have to kind of take the attack.
Recoil is actually going to step out in front of it. It's a little bit chaotic, but he's got it completely covered, save for Shondex, who actually does require a little more attention, especially now that he's got that Bulldog in tow. To get that door set up, understands this is only window of time to get the spike down and get those extra creds, so he will. Turn this to a 1v3 that he actually does have some maybe capability of winning. No, Sim immediately adjusts back on and just immediate shot to the dome for good measure.
Yeah, great stuff coming through that time around. I mean, like lambs to the slaughter, walking in front of Recoil, just getting sprayed down. And Shondex, of course, is able to find 2 kills there. Even things out, got a rifle in hand, but it was a lot of aggression coming through from Ambrosia, and they more or less just get stifled right at the door. So good stuff coming in from TSM. You can even tell that there's so much support utility coming through, like the paranoia flies just off rip as well. A lot of stuff available for them to make sure that it's so much more difficult for Ambrosia to take space for free. Now, rifles in hand, Ambrosia, let's see what you guys got cooked up here. There's a reason why you beat M80 on this map. Let's see if you can do it again to TSM.
With Recoil getting that 4K the previous round, he's only 1 orb away from that Steel Garden, so TSM could very easily go for a full-blown retake. That's why you see Ambrosia going for this B-side plan, so they can have more people hide in Boathouse and the extremities of Market and avoid a lot of that radius. Shondex, good opening pick onto a hiding 7. Having to dash back out. Glyph has got the lurk peek on a Recoil, so now Ambrosia can safely turn around and head over to A site that is far less occupied. Glyph able to play that Gatekeeper as well. Will actually get mega aggro on top of this box and meet GMT before he can get a word in edgewise. Very good execution from Ambrosia thus far.
Now the spike should be able to go down nice and easy. Sim able to find one, but traded out.
Now it's Vora's turn, and they can just spray right through. Good bonus taken up by Ambrosia at the end of the day, taking every possible high road along the way to keep 4 guns as well. That was just, yeah, very clean.
And we saw a little bit of a glimpse of what to expect from this TSM defense on that last round. And the name of the game is just, oh my goodness, there's so much utility flying in my face, I feel like I can't walk in onto the site. It's a little bit of a complicated name, but that's essentially what we're going to be seeing as Ambrosia try to attack any of these sites. So that's what we need to kind of keep our eye on if you are Ambrosia. You need to go in there, bait out some of that utility, make it so it's a lot easier for you to be able to move in, because there's so many traps available thanks to all these different agents here. And you don't want to get caught in the middle of that. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing Recoil line up a 4K yet again. TSM going a little bit exploring and get the information there. as the mesh going to get utilized shortly, as this A site is going to be locked down, at least for the time being.
With intention to plant GMD to go for the trap play into the TP, a step has been spotted from Acrean, so Sim does not have an excuse to leave this. Now he does after he misses that first shot. Satellite taking over the site, and now the double-pronged attack on the doorway will force him away. Bora takes the place with a safer angle to help of this rifle, and he won't find anything either. Perfect jump from the stun onto Acrean to continue to keep TSM guessing. Satellite does flash himself in, unfortunately, though, so TSM can readjust on this defense and hold down Treat for letting this door down with 45 seconds to go. Ambrosia has to make the call, and with 3 members still up here on Cat, seems like it's gotta be the A site crunch. I understand that someone could still be here planted on door and they're able to deal with it, but not before Bora still gets the trade back. Double pump on the shorty, and Sim doesn't find either, but 7 is able to pick up the pieces and TSM make it 3-1.
You know, Sim was like, nice, I got 2. Wait a second, both of them are alive. Are you kidding me, man? Just not close enough to secure the kill, but yeah, did more than enough damage, so a single bullet from any of those rifles will make sure that it's going to be kills confirmed. Now, TSM, we're seeing them gain a lot of momentum again on this map. And things are still looking very clean. I mean, the Dust talked about it. The macro from TSM looks very good. Of course, based on the composition, we're expecting them to be a little bit stronger on this defense. And that feels like it is definitely ringing true. 7 as well has the Annihilation ready. Could fish one of these players out from Ambrosia very early on and make sure that no impact can be felt from them. And look at this, like, it's just a simple combo of utility being utilized every single time, and it's so effective at keeping Ambrosia at arm's length. It really is almost just like a stall down until the clock is really against Ambrosia, but taking out Sim is a great way to start out this round.
Yeah. Being able to heat check that heat-seeking missile. And so Ambrosia can go for a better reset. A mesh placed on that B doorway to force Ambrosia to make the split-second call with 50 seconds to go, and Shondex is going to opt to burn it.
Rip and tear.
You play this as proactively as you want if you recoil. No reason not to hide the fact that you're here, especially if 7 is 2. GravNet hitting 2. Immediate Hunter's Fury into the Annihilation as well. Steel Garden 2. TSM letting no stone go unturned. And 7 the first to grab the frag off of it. Well, he did do some decent ship, though, with this ultimate. Oh, but 7 was able to still grab Acrean. So a 3v4 and 7! Just getting all the action this round. Trying to farm another Annihilation back up.
Also, too, got the kill with the Annihilation as well.
Yeah.
7. Just hanging out there. And, you know, I talk about different Sentinels that you can kind of expect on this map. And the Deadlock is a lot more frag forwards, right? Like, anytime we see some of these Challengers teams bringing in the Deadlock, it's usually like you're playing off the GravNet, you're playing off the meshes to try and trap some of these players so that it's just easy kills, easy light. And we're seeing 7 really just come into that role perfectly, especially on some of these rounds. And yeah, I mean, we're getting the timeout now. It's going to be a good call because TSM are kind of rolling over Ambrosia. Given the fact that this is Ambrosia's map pick, they're already down 1 in the series. They got to start figuring some of this stuff out because TSM, like, they're feeling like a very well-oiled machine and simply cannot be stopped at this point.
It's really a shame because I think Ambrosia are doing a good job of playing this pre-planned and mid-round effectively as best they can, just trying to burn through whatever util they can spot and just wear down what TSM can throw at the issue. The problem is with 2 Sentinels, it just takes forever to do that when TSM's response time can be so good. And it always is. There is always an answer defensively at the moment, and that's exactly how this comp is built to work, which is why, as a TSM fan, you should thank your lucky stars you've already gotten 4 so far, because it is going to be so much harder on the attack half.
You say that, but, like, who knows, right? Like, they might be cooking something up here.
You're so right. Well, we'll find out in T-minus 7 rounds. Until then, TSM gonna try and make a run for it on this half. Sim, once again, the one to poke out. Doesn't do it nearly as long, though, as Ambrosia's mid-presence seems like far too much of a priority. Luckily, that shear will at least slow them down momentarily.
That's so annoying. Like the shear goes up and then they're like, okay, we'll just wait this one out. Barrier mesh goes up. All right, I guess we can wait this one out.
And
then
now a
Sim
different
pops
kind of
around the
wall.
corner, finds the outlaw too. Like it's just so difficult for Ambrosia to even get a foot in the door. And all of this utility coming out from TSM, once again, it's just like zoning utility. It's not necessarily, you know, finding kills, isolating moments or anything. It's just really annoying and slows down Ambrosia at every single step. And that is starting to weigh on them a little bit because they're simply not getting the ground that they would want to on this map and are getting punished for it. As Satellite's already down, that's one of those ultimates completely gone. And they're making the pivot at least to try and take that space out towards Tree, even though the spike once again is ready for that B-side hit. They're just going to have to deal with Seven, who's hanging out at the back.
It's got to be Shondex on this Guardian. He was able to infiltrate market, and Ambrosia found a way to seep into the cracks, find the elasticity in such a stalwart defense, but you just can't get past Sim. TSM easily get to 5 flawlessly, in fact. Ambrosia sitting on some ultimates, now some guns as well, I do believe. But even still, like you said, by the time Ambrosia gets through all of the util that's thrown at them, the person that's throwing them has all of the time, spacing, and peaks available to be able to absolutely destroy them.
Yeah, I mean, this is such like a tough composition to go up against if you're Ambrosia. And once again, we still have to keep in mind that a lot of changes have happened to this squad. A lot of new experienced players kind of coming into their role for the first time. Whereas TSM, like, they've been playing together. The roster's always looked really good. It feels like they're finally getting that cohesive play style that we've been expecting from this squad. And so at the end of the day, it might just be that new team experience shining through a little bit stronger here, whereas TSM have all the reps that they need. It is going to be a successful engagement from Ambrosia this time as they get that spike down. The TSM are going to be ready for this retake with everything they need.
And some shots did land. Shondex and Welly at fragmented health. So the targeted angles are a little bit different here. Acreon's the one holding logs. Oh, Sim now stepping out. He is having fun with it, but Acreon stays true and Satellite stays close with this. Judge dealing 2. Now picking up a rifle for this remainder in GMD, who's got to clutch it up, and he can't. Glyph holds it down on sight. So Ambrosia are the wall breakers this round. They managed to get through and then hold down the post plant long enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted to see from them. It still didn't feel like that was like the most like, oh my goodness, Ambrosia, they're so back type of round. It just came down to TSM, you know, moving in at the unfortunately wrong time, and then Satellite coming absolutely clutch with the shotgun to be able to shut down all this pressure on one side. But you can still see Ambrosia, like, even after they got the spike down, they were a little bit concerned as to where do they go. And I need to see them gain a little bit more confidence in their game plan to be able to find some of these more openings here. And that's just going to come with winning these rounds one at a time. It's still pretty early in this half, all things considered. Satellite gets taken out very early, and that's just like another hindrance from Ambrosia really being able to do much in these rounds. Is sure, you take out the sonic sensor, and it looks like they're posturing towards that tree side, but still there's going to be a lot of stuff deterring them from moving in.
Seven sitting right on top of this mesh at the moment. That was such a nasty shot from Sim, dude. Poor Satellite was just trying to get rid of the shear with the clone. And still found him. Acreon, good off angle taken from Tree, and again Ambrosia will make the crunch work on the site itself. Armageddon up on Heaven as well to force Vora downstairs early. Lucky he's the only one there. Seven still all the way over in Dodge as the spike's already ticking down. So with 4 still standing, the question is simply just how much is Vora going to be able to get on the way out? Now that a smoke has been tossed his direction, the answer is zip, zilch, nada.
Yeah, save going to be called here. Thankfully, the door was down. Otherwise, Vora could have an excellent timing with a rendezvous being called on mid. But I think that was just kind of TSM not doing their due diligence and trying to move in onto the site. Like they were just caught by surprise from a lot of these off angles from the members of Ambrosia who were just kind of watching them. And sure, the spike wasn't down just quite yet, but Ambrosia are good to lock down those angles. And I'm specifically thinking about the one coming in from heaven. I mean, you know, it was just Glyph watching it, Phantom in hand, didn't even move anywhere, and is able to find a double kill, making sure that TSM can't really retake it as easily as they would have. So TSM, while we've, you know, complimented them all sorts of times throughout this, at the same time, they got to make sure to calm things down and not over-aggress in some of these moments there. You still got to be very meticulous about how you want to do it. That's when we see them playing at their best. And now Ambrosia are slowly closing the gap between the scoreline.
Remember, they went 8 for 11 against M80 on defense. They're already getting to that threshold that they need to get to here on attack against TSM, who needs to stay awake, stay involved. 2 different chokes to check for Vora on top of that clone, and the smoke to shroud out the first. The swing from Satellite is not good, and Vora holds it down. Glyph, another opening pick, but 7 can trade it out effectively this time, and no one's there to back it up. 3v4 now for Ambrosia, and the spike is isolated. Vora swiftly deals with that as well, continuing to pop off on this Teo for TSM. Not a lot of options left for Ambrosia this time around, so we'll see what they can come up with in the B. Crack, trying to salvo out one, but yeah, just can't spray through that. Bit of a gamble, unfortunately, but that's all you can go for at this point with the position you're in.
Keep in mind, there's a shear as well there. So literally, it's just like, there's so much deterrence of like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we can win this. Maybe we can move in on the side. Maybe we can take some map space. And then it's just like, oh, there's a wall. Oh, there's a barrier bash. There's so much in the toolkit of TSM specifically on this defense to just deter any like part 2 plans that Ambrosia have. Any of this mid-rounding calls just gets so much more difficult unless they found the relevant kills. And out of all the players who you would want to take out in order to make sure that they can move in onto the site, Sim is not the one, because that jet does not have anything really utility-wise to anchor down any of these sites. Literally all of the other 4 members have something, but they're the 4 members who are still alive, and so Ambrosia, like, it's just not even worth it to go into there, because they're just going to get trapped up and taken down one by one.
That is kind of a strange turnaround from when they've just had to react to TSM sending out Sim, because they're also aware that Sim is their safest player to let go of. And yeah, in the meantime, he's just been able to get planted up, and Ambrosia's happily tried to contest him. And more often than not, Sim's just happily taken the re-up for it, even in KDA at the moment, but his impact is undeniable. So is every other member of TSM at the moment, as their defense continues to look as dominant as expected. 6-3 here. And now with still that annihilation in tow as well, they can approach just about any bounceable angle with ease. Trade up mid though, they have that control. Nothing else though at the moment.
And at this point, Satellite just wants to play the game. I don't know how many times Satellite's been the first pick off. When it comes to finding a lot of space and navigating through a lot of this utility, that Yoru is kind of what you wanted. Especially too, you got that clone, can walk through a lot of those trips and, you know, all that type of stuff, and then you can teleport into the back of the site. And unfortunately, Satellite really hasn't had even really the opportunity, the privilege to showcase some of that, you know, strategic depth that would have allowed Ambrosia to go exploring a lot more. An annihilation right off the rip here. Fortunately, doesn't find anything. Ambrosia now going to be moving in.
And no salvo. Vora doesn't need it. No one's checking the lane.
30 seconds left.
Oh my.
Easy 2.
One enemy
Is the rest of Ambrosia able to shuffle in? Glyph just barely after Adrian makes some headway. And with the TP ult available, they'll head over to B site.
Spike planted.
2v1 here. Keep in mind, Sim has now swapped out this rifle. If they swing off together, this should be an easy pick, but Glyph could be hiding around in the back of that site.
Great natural cover to work with. The smoke is going to fade soon. TSM just have to wait it out, and now he's multitasking. Both coming from the same direction. Smoke number 2 up. Easy first pick as the smoke falls down. Recoil in the 1v1. Has to step out, but Glyph's giving the position away. Stepping back around. The circle goes Recoil's favor. And TSM will scrape by with their 7th on the D.
So close there. And this is something that I've been seeing a lot of Omen players do lately, where it's like they'll drop the smoke, and just as it's dropping, you can see the feet of the other team, so you get the spray through a lot easier. I'm starting to see that a lot more, and that was just a prime example there. Glyph almost clutching the round up for Ambrosia, despite the fact that some of those moments, like Vora just popping around out of nowhere, finding a free 2K, and still able to get a third amidst all of it. TSM, they're looking very dominant, but this is the half that we expected them to be very dominant. Could completely change around. We've only got 2 rounds left in this half.
Yeah, this half is the biggest of the Swiss so far. Of course this comp is going to do well on defense. Of course Recoil and 7 are going to have the time of their life. Look at 7 right now. He's so jubilant right now. He's like a kid in a candy store. He's like, I get to grab net whenever I want to, and my annihilations, I can just throw them anywhere. It's crazy.
Deadlock players holding the Gravnet, peeking corners.
Dude, those
Maybe
North American
Deadlocks.
Duo. They love this map so much. They get so giddy.
Oh,
well,
Sim.
2 to go. Yeah, this is a fun shall, isn't it? Best to step out with that operator, my friend. As the shear gets procced. GMD. Again, Satellite unfortunately unable to make a dent. Oh, defensive Armageddon as well. That'll split the board on the B approach and force the crunch a little early here. Shondex will get the opening frag and some more. But Sim is back again. Almost lands the second off shot, but the salvos will dredge him away at least a little bit here. Let one get past the lane. Luckily, GMD already here in the boathouse to get that next pick off, and Sim still here in the back, misses another shot, and suddenly we got some presence. Recoil can quickly shut that down. Noelle does find the timing on GMD. So 2v1 with little time to go. Luckily, the double swing is good for TSM. 8-3, the path we all expected to go down, Marks. Just one more round strong.
Yeah, I really think that this is coming down to Satellite not being able to be the spearhead for Ambrosia on this one. Would be curious to see how often Satellite's been the first pickup. Feels like every single time he's just taking a little bit of space, immediately punished for it. And there's no real opportunity for that Yoru to take the space naturally. And so then the rest of Ambrosia just kind of have to go in without their duelist and hope for the best up against such annoying utility, which that Yoru should be able to more or less circumvent and be that kind of knife in the back. So last round in this half, Ambrosia this time full sending it down mid. Sim kind of getting cut off here, but this shear could cut people in half, and yeah, GMD unchecked.
Completely. So now Ambrosia's a little stuck, but Hunter's Fury from Welly finds Recoil after he's spotted. And so that'll open up the B site artificially here. Akrian, though, pressured by the stun. He's got to watch out as 7 starts his approach up the door. As the plant goes in, Akrian's got it. 3v1 against Vora. Going for this clutch. Same spot as well. First fight against Akrian, and Welly can peek it out. And Ambrosia can swipe away one more round on this attack. And I'd like to mention something as well. Going into this defensive half, while it's true, Satellite so bent on trying to infiltrate all of this util that TSM was willing to throw at them. I'm sure that's what they had going into this half, and Satellite certainly did the best he could. But when it comes to first bloods, Satellite got 5 of his 7 on the defense last time on Ascent against M80. He's going to infiltrate far harder on this half than they did the previous one. And TSM's approach game will be the least of Ambrosia's worries. That'll be the easy part. The hard part, that's up to Satellite, and he's going to quickly rise up from the bot frag if everything goes well for him. I will tell you what.
I'm excited. I want Satellite to pop off, you know? It's been a little bit sad to kind of see how this Yoru has just been consistently getting picked off there, but yeah, now the big question marks will get answered. How does TSM make this composition work on the attack? Not a lot of tools for them to use because it's so anchored in them just being able to hang out, and Satellite starting it out with a pick onto Sim. Not the recipient of the first blood, but giving it this time. That's got to be Ambrosia slowly feeling a little bit more better about their current circumstance.
Locating targets. Roll is down.
TSM having to go for the full stack a lot earlier on than they potentially intended. Aggro Sentinel util is the only way forward, and that's what they'll use on top of the salvos, but the reactive salvos will split this board again. 7 alone on the site for a couple crucial seconds. Akrian sprayed through by Vora on the goes. That's some game sense for you, baby. And now Shondex is alone. TSM turning this round on its head. Lickety split. Now we got the heaven presence from Ambrosia, but that's all.
Oh boy, there's no way that they just there's no way that they just continue to use aggressive Sentinel utility, right?
It went in Rome. Oh yeah, just spray through it. That'll certainly work. Glyph is still so stuck up here in trees. Got to clear the door. Well, he's got the one though. Oh, the salvo's on top. Stops him at least. Double swing with a decent health pool. Very doable for Ambrosia. Drop down, more instant shutdown. Vora for 3 this round. All kills that I got questions about, but I will leave them for later in the postgame that TSM is trying to speedrun us towards.
Let's see how it goes. I mean, yeah, once again, to be fair, Deadlock, yes, Sentinel, but at the same time is more on the initiator side, just thanks to the GravNet being utilized. If you can get some people into that trap, then it's super easy to engage off of, especially too, there is a lack of like immediate flashing, but you do have that arc rose as well as the paranoia. So we're going to be seeing these very like burst, run in, try and get a kill moments, I think, from TSM here. And if they can continue to capitalize on those pieces of utility, then they get themselves an advantage, should be able to move in and take over those sites. That's the path forwards, I think, but still, it's a little bit of a gamble because there's a lot of moving pieces in there that all kind of have to fall into place, and it's very possible that you can just kind of get caught out and no value. But, well, Satellite down again, this time to some salvos. Didn't see that one coming necessarily. And yeah, great start for TSM.
Forced approach into the B main, and well, he does land some decent headshots to keep things interesting, and Shondex posted up in the cubby to again keep TSM on their toes, but everything cleaned up for the most part. Still 3v2 though, and Akrian full health with this Bulldog.
Spike planted.
There's certainly potential to get something out of this. The question is, does Ambrosia go for it and feed these orbs over?
Barrier deployed.
Barrier mesh active now. That may discourage them fully. Oh, never mind.
Kendrick, you forgot about parkour.
Onward, yeah. That was sick. We got time. We got people. Let's see what we can do. Sonic sensor onto Glyph. Akrian's got to hold it down. That's what they were asking him to do. And unfortunately, everyone from TSM is ready to fight for it. Double digits here on Ascent.
Can't parkour your way out of that one. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, at this point too, like TSM get 2 rounds. Of course, because they won the pistol, Ambrosia are on the back foot. Things are not looking that great for them. But like, so this is what it comes down to, because I genuinely think that this is just Ambrosia not being too aware how to play off of this composition. They're not expecting things, and so because, like, you know, it's Ascent. Everyone used to play the same combination of utilities, same agents and everything like that.
So
but because
weird.
This is something so novel and different, they're struggling to really get their strategic footing on the ground. Versus TSM, like, they've got a game plan, and they are very much executing.
Oh, Shondex caught the drop on him. Traded away. Satellite trying to take the pot shots and just can't land a thing. TSM stormed the battlefront.
Oh.
Sim good for 3. And it's dominance on the B site. 2v1 now for the attackers. Everything working for these guys. The double Sentinel util getting as aggressive as it needs to be to enable Sim.
Cover going out.
They clearly had a plan coming into this map, and they are executing it so well so far. That may be the round to fully silence Ambrosia fans this match.
This is where someone says something pithy
A slim chance at making anything more than a 4-12 comeback at the moment, Marks.
Don't mind me just crying at the club right now. Ambrosia?
Yeah,
like,
how do you feel now, huh?
okay.
How do you feel
all right,
now?
you know, wow, way to rub salt in the wound, huh? But it feels like they're expecting TSM's competition to be almost like a tank, you know? Like, it's so fortified. It should be slow moving. It should be very like, oh, they're gonna move in nice and slow. They gotta manually clear all their corners. Exactly. Very methodical. Almost like that like old phone game Snake where you're just going and getting the 1 dots at a time, right?
Yes, yeah.
Not the case though. Like, it's actually pretty fast, and Sim is getting away with a lot of space for no good reason. Like, we're seeing the Jet just kind of go for the the smoke in, dash right into the smoke, taking up so much room before the rest of the tank engine can really catch up with the rest of the squad. And then once they do that, like, you see Ambrosia just not have any idea about how they necessarily want to approach that. And so TSM have more or less just been walking away for free. Sim not even really getting punished that often, despite some of these full sends in onto the site and being in these like ridiculous scenarios. Ambrosia aren't really there to kind of punish that. So when it comes to the trap plays, we saw how TSM were so good with their utility to set some of those up. But Ambrosia, like, it feels like they just don't know how to do trap plays against this specific composition, because everything that they've been trying so far is kind of getting nullified.
And we'll see that same blistering speed despite the eco here. Nice blind from Satellite to at least keep Sim on his toes, but unfortunately, still can't connect the kill on top of it. The timing is just a little off. Shock dart onto 7 will deal some chip damage as Ambrosia once again already here to play, but the deadlock util is set up just in time, and Vora starting to spray through to play keep away. Now the mesh set up as well, and TSM can just start collapsing piece of util after piece of util, stall tool after stall tool, frustrating rage bait after frustrating rage bait. And Ambrosia continuously boxed, walled, spaced, whatever you want to call it. They are out. And now they are getting killed. Slaughtered by recoil up in tree. Rest of the push comes from on high. And that will not come with much more gumption. It'll be 12-4 here on Ascent. An attack half that looked, honestly, just as strong, if not stronger, than the defense.
And Recoil finds the last kill as well. And I love the way that you talk about how TSM are playing that. As soon as the round starts, it's like, zoom, zoom, we got that spike down. What? You blinked and you missed it. That's crazy. And then they can rely on all their utility. And it feels like they're just trapping Ambrosia in this maze of ways they're not able to go down. It's so frustrating, exactly like you said. Oh, we're just gonna do this retake like normal. Walk through tree, walk through heaven, we should be fine. Oh, wait, we can't? What do you mean we can't? Oh, there's a barrier mesh up in front of me? That's cool, I guess. Oh, and now there's thorns in front of me and I can't walk through this? It's so annoying.
Dude, yeah, throw me in this lobby, I'm throwing hands, genuinely. Steel Garden immediately upon Recoil's frag, so Ambrosia have genuinely no tools for this push yet again. The only time they'd like to intercept, and Sim is hungry for more. Armageddon up the back line, though, to prevent anything more. Sim still gets the kill on the flush out to Shondex, too. TSM just going for raw dominance. Hunter's Fury. Sim chases it down with the knives. And this star's getting extra aggressive on the Blaze. Some style points to wrap us out. No rage peeking necessary. TSM ain't mad one bit. They picked up right where they left off, and here they sit 2-0 in the Swiss.
At that point, TSM basically doing the equivalent of popping a wheelie on the motorcycle, just zooming right over of Ambrosia there. And this is the TSM that we have wanted to see in Tier 2 for the longest time. Everything just looked so well rehearsed. The macro game felt extremely strong, and it just feels like they have everything put together. It was a good effort by Ambrosia. You could tell that they were trying some things out, but I do think that that little bit of new teamness behind them, especially with all the roster changes that they have, simply was just unmatched given the level of preparation that TSM have put into this map. Keep in mind, Ambrosia defeated M80, who went to the finals in last split. But right now, if you're watching this, TSM is definitely a contender to make, waves in this tournament because they are looking really darn good.
Yeah, this Ambrosia coming out of that first match was a killing floor, but TSM, they are a polished, waxed ballroom, and they are dancing their way to that 2-0 position in the Swiss stage. Congrats to them. We'll get to have a chat with at least one of the members after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
people really like to give up, and they didn't really have that drive.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to Ascent.
We kind of just threw at the end.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, AMB were winning 5 versus 3.
Look how quick this one.
Oh!
It's been a long day for the final day of our first week here in Challengers NA, and TSM trying to hurry it up just a little bit. A very strong victory on the second map in the series, 13-4 victory over Ambrosia. Ash, I mean, that was a map.
Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. A swift 2-0. My predictions are right. Marks, you know, he's got his fist clenched right now. You know, the Arthur fist equipped at the moment. The only one to vote out Ambrosia. To be fair, we did give them their flowers, you know, before this matchup started. They did look really good up against M80, but this team looked like a far cry from what we saw 2 days ago, Roy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know if it's Ambrosia playing bad or if it's the TSM has absolutely leveled up, right? Like what we saw today was just so on point. It really did feel like full throttle, at least on Ascent, right? They had the 8-4 half. Okay, they're double sentinel on that defense side. We kind of expect it. Now, you know, we had our qualms, we had our concerns about the attack side, right? The lack of flashes, but dude, they were full throttle on that attack side. They had set piece after set piece, and they just looked seemingly unstoppable.
I think that's the big thing is just we expected it to be maybe of a bit of a slower approach, very similar to what we saw on Haven on their matchup earlier this week. And it just wasn't that kind of tempo whatsoever. They played to their strengths. I think a big thing was, you know, Seven was popping off round after round in that first half. Sure, maybe slowed down a little bit in the second half, but his utility paired with Vora's was so nice for clearing out a lot of those angles, these little trap set plays that you were talking about to secure those initial picks and to really isolate every player on the side of Ambrosia from being able to play together.
I mean, looking through this, I mean, the fact that there was concerns and TSM just put them so swiftly to rest was just amazing. And to echo what Roy said, whether it's a TSM that's just leveled up so much or an Ambrosia that, you know, like, it's kind of hard to say on that one, but I do think it's safe to say that TSM throughout this is a team that we had a lot of expectations on. They followed through on a lot of those for stage 1, and we're going to see that promise stepping up right away here in stage 2. So absolutely love to see it. There's confidence throughout, just this capability. Anybody can step up at any point and get a 4K. Like, this is a TSM Roy to watch out for. We already knew that, but really making sure it's heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're one of the only teams that hasn't really made roster changes. They're complete roster from start to finish. They looked good in the first split. Yeah, they didn't have the results that they would have liked, obviously. But what we're seeing right now is that refining that we said they were lacking in the first split, right? Like they're more well-rounded now. They have their set pieces. They have their protocols. It really does feel like a much better oiled machine. And it overall, they look tight in terms of spacing, in terms of executes, their retakes, their flexibility. And when, you know, we kind of towards the end of that second map, towards the end of Ascent, we saw just how wild TSM was getting, right? As soon as they got a whiff of that confidence, they're kind of swimming in it. It's just complete chaos by them and fully in control the entire time.
Yeah, I think what's really cool too is we talked about, again, you know, maybe the expectation of how they wanted to approach things with this composition. I do wonder if maybe just that general tempo shift was something that Ambrosia maybe struggled to deal with because they weren't expecting that high octane type of play on the attacking side, considering the comp that TSM are running, which again, it looked really good. I'm excited to see like the additional depth that we can expect from this team and how they're going to continue to build forward and add more to their approach here on Ascent if they carry forward with this.
100%. But time to put this conversation aside for just a moment. We can come back to it because we have none other than IGL Vora on the line to chat a little bit more about that last series. So it's been a long day, even though it was a quick series there. So we'll keep it relatively short. But I want to talk about this hot start that TSM's gotten to the season because there's quite a few teams that have changed things up. I had talked about that with Seven at the beginning of the week. Like, this is a team that didn't. How does it feel then that you can show you're sticking together at the roster and you're going to get these strong victories to start off the stage?
Oh, it's great. Slowly, with more time, we're all meshing together even better than before. And with more time, we start like getting our ideas in place. We all start getting more connected in terms of the mid-rounding, which is a big part of this game. And once we get that down, even better, like judging from this game, it's going great so far for us.
I'd love to hear that. And talking a little bit about this game, this is the first time we've gotten to see your guys' Ascent, right? And we see this Deadlock and the Vias. And we had a couple of questions when it came over to the attacking end. And you guys, like, we didn't really get to even see much. That was a really fast game. Like, I want to talk about this Ascent and how you're feeling with this double Senti comp.
In practice, our Ascent is really good. I think we all find this a comfort map, and these agents all fit us really well. And Ascent, it's just like a map it's like an older map that everyone's kind of like understands well. It's easy to pick up, and with the new agents and stuff, and with like the newbie main changes, I think the map is a lot more fun and enjoyable, like to call on, to move around on, rotate on, like play in. It's more like comfortable for all of us, and yeah, we love it so far. We're gonna show new stuff, and we're gonna get better as time goes on.
I mean, already a strong showing today. So if that's just but it tastes, in for a treat in the future. So last but not least, I want to talk about your journey IGLing this team, because obviously when we're looking at the start of stage 1, you and Recoil coming into the roster, both newer, and then yourself having to pick up this IGL role. Now that you've had an entire stage and playoffs under your belt, how are you feeling now going forward?
I'm feeling a lot more confident for sure. I've got an amazing team to support me. I've got a world champion coach that is guiding me through the way and showing me how to be a better leader for my teammates, call better. It's a great environment to be in when everyone trusts you, especially as like a new IGL, you know, the one being brought up in this type of environment is extremely, it's just nice, you know, to be nurtured in that way, to be brought up and yeah, used in that way. It's really nice.
I mean, that's definitely been showing with his results. So I'm really glad to hear that. Or congratulations on this win. Best of luck in the next one. Hopefully you keep up the undefeated streak.
Thank you very much. Happy night.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well. Back over to the desk. I mean, be able to see the confidence from the IGL. I mean, this is a TSM that, yeah, maybe seemed risky at the beginning, but now a whole stage. Roy, this just looks so strong across the board. It's a great time for any TSM fans out there.
Yeah, I feel like he's being a little too humble. I'm going to gas them up a little bit, because what we saw today and what we saw from them in their last match as well versus YFP that looks really good coming into this split as well. I mean, it just looked great. They looked a lot better. The IGL tax is most definitely settling in, and it feels like Vora is finding his place and this team is finding their identity, and I'm excited to see more from them.
It's been really nice to see so far, and that's going to lead TSM starting off the stage really, really good. And that was the last match that we had for this week. So let's pull up the bracket to fully just talk about everything we've gotten to see. Of course, we only got to see 2 matches on the main broadcast, the other happening on the side one. But the continuation of round 2, Ash, we're going to have to save that till next week. But how the other matches have turned up, like, am my eyes deceiving me? Is that Core taking down SRB over there?
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It's been a wild week 1 here for the start of stage 2. And, Shopify Rebellion Black, it seemed like they broke through the ceiling there during this first split. But I feel like that this just tells us how close the competition is getting with the time that these teams have had to work on things with those couple of weeks before the start of stage 2. Core is a team where I feel like was kind of solidly in the middle of the pack last split, but deserves a lot more respect, to be honest. I've always been a fan of this roster, and I love seeing them being able to kind of clap back with a vengeance now up against SRB. I think that this is a squad that can carry momentum forward, and another team that also stuck together there.
It's so cool to see. I mean, it's definitely a team that deserves a lot of praise. I just thought at this point, like Shopify Rebellion Black, maybe just a little untouchable, but it's always interesting in the world of NA Challengers. Let me tell you what. So Keyword Academy, TSM, Core undefeated, and of course, start off our next week, we get to find out who in Trust and Plug and Envy is going to be joining them. But that is unfortunately it for this week. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in for all of the matches, all of the fun, and we'll see you next week for more. Take care.
Done necessitates the TP again, and so we're spread quite thin. But the spike continues to tick away. Nazi on the field, flips around for Nismo. How do you find that? But Scuba next to the spike grabs the 2 back. So low, but so little time as well. He's got to hold this peak against Ali first before getting onto the spike. It's so over here. Moves as the, and it'll bring us back to even footing. 3v3. Great opening frag there, though, from Hubert on top of Nismo's flash. Redux, some beautiful shots to be able to find the end of. Moves his health pool there. Oh, Infiltrator, you've been gifted another. Let's send him some more. Give him the ace. Oh, please.
Oh my goodness me.
He's him, bro. He is terrific do-si doing around his Viper's pit.
Oops.
It's all right. We reset and re-enter. Still a little too early. Nasi again, the back. He's fully blind, and he's good for 3. Unbelievable. I call it good old-fashioned know-how. Oh, Ollie's close. That'll get punished, but quickly traded upon. Flair has got to just make it work, and he certainly will this time. That's a redemption on this A-side. Hold it 5, and for a scene 1. He is playing Tejo, so he can definitely still win. Nice shots on a recoil. Has to get up close on top of that Armageddon. He kind of, they were kind of asking him to kill him there, if I'm being honest. Vora and GMD, just making sure that this is extended as long as possible. Adrian, are you joking?
Versus Ambrosia are going to be the ones who have to kind of take the attack.
Recoil is actually going to step out in front of it. It's a little bit chaotic, but he's got it completely covered, save for Shondex, who actually, frustrating rage bait. And Ambrosia continuously boxed, walled, spaced, whatever you want to call it. They are out. And now they are getting killed. Slaughtered by Recoil up in tree. Rest of the push comes from on high. Done. Necessitate.